Hi everyone, and welcome to Lesson 3, which we're going to discuss basic drawing and editing commands with AutoCAD. So here's your AutoCAD screen and user interface. What we're going to discuss in this chapter is basic commands like the line command, which you find up in the upper left-hand corner in the Draw panel. The Draw Circle command, which you'll also find at the top left-hand corner. Also, we'll learn how to erase objects, and we'll learn how to draw rectangles, and then we'll look at the basic undo and redo commands. So first of all, let's look at the drawing the lines command. And here, when you click the draw line, you'll see down on your command line. Also, if you have on the dynamic input set on, now you can tell because it's blue that the dynamic input is set to on. So then your prompts will be showing up right beside the cursor, and you'll see when you do start the line command, the first thing it wants to know is what is the first point. Now you can give this point on the screen, okay, and then the next point, so you can also give this on the screen. Alright, and unless you exit the command by pressing the escape button or the enter button, you're still in the line command, and you can keep drawing lines as you please. To exit the command, you just press enter or the escape command or the escape button. And notice that when you put your cursor over each line, that they are individual lines. Okay, you can also draw lines by specifying the length and the angle of the line. So to do that, especially you must have your dynamic input button turned on to do that. And so I'll just start the line command again, line. And again, you're going to see on your dynamic prompt there, specify first point. Now notice that your dynamic input actually highlights a distance for you, and that there also is an angle there for you to input if you like. So I can input the distance, which is highlighted. So I could say 5, and then tab over to the angle, and then I can input an angle. And it depends where my cursor is, okay? So if I'm above that horizontal line, then my angle is going to be above. If I'm below that horizontal line, then my angle will be below. Okay, so 90 could be here, or 90 could be here, depending on where you put your cursor. So I'm going to just type in 30 degrees. Alright, so it's drawn a line that is 5 units long and 30 degrees above the horizontal line. And for just one single line, I would just press the escape key or the enter key. Okay, also as far as positives or negatives, distances, positive would be towards the right on the x-axis, negative would be towards the left on the x-axis, and same with the y-axis. There's also some options that you have when you're drawing with the line command. So again, I'm going to just draw using data points on my screen, and if I draw a number of lines that are attached, notice I have on my dynamic input I have a drop-down menu, and if I click on the down arrow, I will see two options for my line command. One is close and one is undo. So the close option will close the figure for me. The undo option will take out the last line that I've drawn. So if I hit close, it will automatically draw a line which closes the figure and ends my command, actually. Okay, so next we're going to look at the erase command. So the erase command is up here on the modify panel and looks like an eraser. Of course, the easiest way to delete objects in AutoCAD is to just select the object and hit the delete key. All right, so that will actually delete the object for you. We do have an erase command though. So up here on the modify panel, if I click the erase command, first I click the command, and then my prompt will ask me to select the objects that I want to erase. So then I would just go ahead. Notice there's a red X that appears every time I cross an object. Okay, and I just pick the objects that I want to erase. When I'm done selecting those objects, I just hit enter, and the objects are deleted or erased. Okay. You can also draw lines using what's called polar tracking. So polar tracking is a helpful tool for reducing the amount of typing that's required. So instead of entering a distance and an angle, what you can do is enter preset angles in your polar tracking. So again, you'll find the polar tracking on-off switch down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And in order for it to work, of course, it has to be blue, which means it's turned on. And if you expand the polar tracking, you'll see that there's preset angles. So these preset angles are the ones that the line will actually snap to when you're drawing lines. So if I have it's set to 45 degrees here, I've clicked onto 45 degrees. So then when I go to draw a line, specify first point, and notice that you'll see a green dashed line, and it snaps every 45 degrees because that's what my polar tracking is set to. Okay, and I can actually enter a distance now that I have when I see that dotted line, it means that it will draw at 45 degrees. So if I type in a number for my distance, okay, escape or enter to get out of the command, my line is 5 units long and it's 45 degrees. Of course, that depends where my cursor was, where it's 45 degrees from, right? So that's a really useful tool. Another way that you can draw using strictly 90 degrees, 90-degree angles, is to use the Ortho Mode. Okay, so Ortho Mode is again down on the bottom right-hand corner. And right now it's white, so that means it's turned off. You cannot have polar tracking and ortho turned on at the same time. Okay, so if you wanted to draw with all 90-degree angles, you could turn on Ortho Mode, start drawing lines, and no matter where your cursor goes, okay, you cannot draw anything other than 90-degree angles. Enter to end the command. Okay, if I wanted to use anything other than 90-degree angles, of course, I would have to use my polar tracking that has the options to snap to any angle. Okay, now I want to look at drawing rectangles. So up in the Draw menu, again, you'll see it's a little rectangle, and we can use the rectangle command. And what the rectangle command does is you identify two corners of the rectangle, and it'll draw the four-sided figure for you. Okay, so if I click rectangle, and again, if I have my dynamic input on, it will prompt me to specify the first corner and then specify the opposite corner. Okay, so that's how I would draw a rectangle. If I wanted to use, and again I'll start the rectangle command, if I wanted to use specified distances, notice that you'll see I still have to identify the first corner. Okay, and notice that now on my dynamic input cursor is placed on a distance there, and I could type in a distance of 2, tab over, and then enter my y distance. So say it was 3. Okay, so that automatically you can specify the actual dimensions of your rectangle. You could also use the same command, and instead of tabbing, you could actually use a comma in between as well. So 2, and then comma, and then over to, this is my y distance, over to 7, say. Okay. Alright, let's erase some of this screen, and I'll use the erase command. Notice that my rectangle is all one shape because I drew it using the rectangle command, whereas all my other shapes are individual lines. There's a rectangle. Delete, erase, erase, and enter when I'm finished identifying the objects. Alright, so I've erased everything now in my file. Now I want to look at the circle command. So the circle command is again on the draw panel, and if you expand the circle command, you'll see that you have a number of different options for how to draw the circle. The first one, or the most simple one, is center and radius. So it's just as it says, you identify a point which will be the center of the circle, and then you input a radius, or you can give a second point that'll define the radius. So if I click center radius, it's going to prompt me to specify the center point, and then I can, as I said, I can then just fill in the highlighted number there that will be an input for my radius. Okay. If I wanted to, I could also draw a circle by giving the diameter. Alright, so in that case, again, I would identify the center point of my circle, and now it's asking me for the diameter of the circle instead of the radius. So I could give 2 as being my radius, and you've used the diameter to draw your circle. Another way, or one of the other ways to draw a circle, you could use 2 points, or you could use 3 points. Let's look at 3 points. So with 3 points, you're just going to identify 3 points, and you've got the circle. With tan radius, of course, you need, in order for something, you need other objects to look at, to reference in order to use the tan radius. So what I'll do is I'll draw a couple of lines here. Okay, and now I use the tan radius. So what it's gonna prompt me for is a tangent, something to be tangent to, and you'll see the little tangent symbol meaning that it's taking it. Something else to be tangent to, and then you need to specify the radius of your circle. So say I said 2. All right, so it draws the circle tangent to this line, tangent to this line, and then with a radius of 2, which I input. I'll just delete those. Whoops. Erase. And now we'll try it with 3 lines. Okay, so here we see tan, tan, tan. What I'm going to do is draw again 3 lines. And I'm going to use the tan, 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 tangent, tangent, tangent command to draw a circle. Tangent to this point line, tangent to this line, tangent to this line, and it calculates calculates the size of the circle in order to be tangent to the 3 points. Okay, just one more thing I want to go over here, which is your undo and your redo commands. So of course the undo, and you'll find those on your quick access toolbar up on the left hand corner of your screen. So the undo, again, if you click the button once, every time you click the button it just removes what you've done last. If you expand that undo command, you'll see that you can go back any number of commands and it'll take you back to where you were. So I'm back down to just 1 line on my screen. Now the redo command does the same thing except in reverse. Okay, we finished our lesson with AutoCAD on Chapter 2, and now what I'd like you to do is complete Practice 2A from your books, and it'll be taking you through all the commands that we've learned on this lesson. Thank you.